It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Keefe, thanking you for joining us on this Veterans Day in Greater West Bloomfield. And as we celebrate and we thank those that have served our nation all across the world and domestically here in the continental United States, we have had a chance to recognize veterans across Greater West Bloomfield in recent weeks. We had honored men and women of service earlier this month for their special holiday in advance of the day, celebrating them at the annual Heroes Appreciation Breakfast. I had a chance to talk to some veterans and their family members about this special occasion and what this time of the year and these recognitions that they get on Veterans Day mean to them as they reflect on their service.
Every time I hear welcome home and such an event like this, I feel very emotional. The Vietnam vets, as was indicated in other speeches, we did get a raw deal coming back to the States. We were not welcome back.
When the crowd showed up in San Francisco, I thought they were going to wave us and say thank you, and they didn't. And to come to a celebration where people finally appreciate, the service and the sacrifice, we take care of our community, and we do thank West Bloomfield.
The celebration for these volunteers of immense service was led by volunteers, something West Bloomfield School Board member Deborah Evans hopes serves as an important message to students and the community.
Well, I think that it's always important to celebrate our veterans, our heroes, who keep us safe, who keep our country safe, who have served. We want to instill upon our students that it is honorable to serve our country and to understand that service is two ways, meaning a lot of times when you serve, that you find again that your service heart grows as you protect your country, your family, and yourself.
The love and care for local veterans did not go unnoticed, both by those who have served our nation as well as those whose families have given their service to our country as well.
I enjoyed the service, I learned a lot, and it's always been with me, and I thoroughly enjoyed what happened here today. Definitely appreciated and makes me want to become more active in my community to assist in whatever the community action is.
My brother and my father both served in many wars. They leave families behind. So I want to say to all the military families and all the veterans, we want to extend our love, we want to extend our communal presence, and we want to always extend our hearts to all of our heroes.
Brings it right to our hearts because we always knew we were doing the right thing. We're serving our country, but so this is a very important event and we really appreciate it. This is really very, very outstanding. The whole service, the people that sang, announced each other, the colonels and everything else was absolutely great, and we're so thankful, all of us. I speak for all the veterans, especially the Vietnam vets.
And we thank you, Sigmund, a Vietnam vet yourself, Chuck also having served in Vietnam. Want to give you again a heartfelt welcome home, not just a thank you for your service, but a welcome home, that welcome you did not get, that you did deserve all those years ago when you returned from your service in the Vietnam War way back when. Of course, if you want to see more from the Heroes Appreciation Breakfast, learn more about the celebration, and give our veterans a thank you from our team at Civic Center TV. The Heroes Appreciation Breakfast for 2024 is available on demand as we speak on civiccentertv.com, and will be playing all throughout today on Veterans Day as well as throughout the remainder of this week as well. Check it out on our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Veterans Day is, of course, a day where we celebrate those who have served in our military, both active duty and retired military, while also remembering those who have given their lives in service of our country. A student right here in West Bloomfield High School's Max Columbus, had a chance to sit down with a few veterans from right here in Greater West Bloomfield to learn about their journey into the military, a little bit of what they did in service of our country, as well as how their service ultimately changed their lives. Calvin Brown from our team had a chance to take those conversations between Max and these veterans and cut them into a beautiful piece that tells a little bit of the stories of those who have served in Greater West Bloomfield. Let's take a look.
Back in those days, when you graduated from high school, everybody signed up for what we call the selective service. Nothing was really happening in the graduated high school in 1960. Those of us who went on to college, just went on to college. While I was in college, you guys might remember Vietnam or have heard of Vietnam. The things in Vietnam started to be up, and they came out with what they called Berry Plan, and which basically was they asked you if you wanted to be deferred from the draft. Most of us signed up for that. And if there was nothing going on, then you didn't have to worry about going in. But that gave you the privilege of completing your education before you went into the service. I graduated college in 1964, and I decided to go on to medical school. And towards the end of medical school, there was a war in Vietnam. And with any war, we needed physicians. So I did exactly volunteer. But because you're a physician, they're not allowed to draft doctors because they're officers. They go in as officers. So you have to volunteer. So they give you a choice. If you don't volunteer as a physician, they'll draft you as a private.
Yes, I was a 94 Bravo. I was a cook. I was a food service specialist, a cook in a medic battalion, Fort Carson, Colorado. 204th Support Medic Battalion. So I did that garrison cook and field cook type stuff. I think it made me grow into more of a person. I mean, I came right out of high school when I left for the Army. I think it matured me and I became more disciplined, because the drill sergeant's always down, always saying, do this, do that, do this, do that. So it was just like a set thing in your mind that you keep going. And plus I had a family, starting in the Army. So it was like, it's a different thing because, once you have a child or, you have responsibility. The responsibilities I had in the Army were pretty great.
I'm 83 years old, and I immigrated with very little English. So in order to learn English, I joined the Army in 1961. Went to basic training in Fort Knox, and after advanced training, I was sent to Hawaii. I was asked by the recruiter where I wanted to go. Since I spoke German, initially I thought I should go to Germany because then I can play the rich American and also party with the Germans. But out of the blue, I asked, how about Hawaii? I wanted to see something exciting, exotic. And the recruiter said, well, Hawaii is hard to get it, but I'll get it for you. So what was good about being in Hawaii was that there was hardly anything to do except go to the beach and surf it. What we then did in 1963, we were shipped to Thailand. So we went to these little villages and the dirt roads and roads made for water buffaloes. We were the reconnaissance squadron, 4th Cavalry. We wore cavalry yellow ribbons, and we didn't ride horses, we rode tanks. And they were called the Jungle Division, the Tropic Lightning. So we came back and we found out that our mission was to report on whether tanks could be used in this kind of country, which later on was used in the Vietnam War as information that you had to be careful taking tanks over it. I'm glad we immigrated, and I consider myself very lucky, and I owe it really to the Army, my Army service.
A beautiful piece edited by our Calvin Brown, those questions and those conversations between the veterans in our community conducted by Max Columbus, just a high school student who did excellent work on that, and our team with Calvin's work also very, very nice, and it made a great addition to our Heroes Appreciation Breakfast coverage in 2024. Again, I want to direct you to our website on civiccentertv.com. Go to our on-demand page and view our Heroes Appreciation Breakfast, and just for you, what I'm going to do is after the show show today, I'll make sure that we get that right at the top of our homepage today so that you can view that and celebrate our veterans here in Greater West Bloomfield. And if you're out and about today, highly encourage you, if you encounter someone that you know has served, thank them for their service. Talk to them about their stories. Ask them what their service meant to them. It'll bring you some more context to what it means to serve our country and ultimately to provide the freedoms that we have and the opportunities that we have here in Greater West Bloomfield as a result of that service. Again, the Heroes Appreciation Breakfast is on civiccentertv.com as we speak on demand. In the heart of the lakes, the monthly Veterans Coffee event that typically happens in the Tri-Cities going to be shaken up a little bit as we celebrate Veterans Day this week. Instead of the usual coffee get-together, Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant is doing something a little more special. Wednesday evening, they will be hosting a special dinner taking place at Gino's on Cass Lake Road at 5:30 p.m. All veterans, regardless of their city of residence, are welcome to attend. So not just those in Greater West Bloomfield, but in neighboring areas also, as always, invited to join our vibrant veteran community here in Greater West Bloomfield for some great pizza and other Italian dishes at Gino's Restaurant. However, they are expecting quite a turnout there. It's a beloved restaurant in our community. It's going to be a great experience for veterans and their families. So please RSVP to make sure you get a table reserved for you at this event for this very special group. To reserve a spot, call 248-797-6730. Again, that phone number is 248-797-6730. 6730, and that special Veterans Day celebration dinner at Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant on Cass Lake Road in Keego Harbor, 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday this week. A great way to celebrate our veterans in our community. Close to home, now is the time for you to spread some holiday cheer before we get into the thick of the Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah holidays and all the other things that come along in November and December. The West Bloomfield Fire Department is leading their 11th annual Toys for Tots drive, running now through December 16th. It's pretty simple. They'll accept new unwrapped toys and gifts at a variety of locations across our community, including West Bloomfield Town Hall, of course, on Walnut Lake Road, Fire Station number 1 on Orchard Lake Road, and Fire Station number 5 on West Maple Road. They do have one request, though, is you bring in these toys that are new, that are unwrapped, that have not been used. Please don't bring in toy weapons. That's their only request. Any other kinds of toys are good to go. Children's toys you can bring in that are unwrapped, that are new, that you can donate at these locations. All are fine except for those toy weapons. If you have any further questions or you want to contribute in maybe some different ways for this fundraiser and this charity event through the West Bloomfield Fire Department, you can call their administrative hotline at 248-409-1505. Again, that's 248-409-1505 for more information, or visit wbtownship.org. Of course, we are celebrating Veterans Day all across the Greater West Bloomfield community, Oakland County, and beyond, recognizing the service of those who have put their lives on the line to preserve our freedoms close to home in Greater West Bloomfield. In Oakland County, plenty of services are abundant for veterans in our community and beyond to keep them active across Greater West Bloomfield and to provide them with the necessary services that they need to maintain a quality of life here in our community. Here for more insight on some of those services that are provided is Lieutenant Garth Wooten from Oakland County Veteran Services. He is their Veteran Services Division Manager with us on the Splash Live. Garth, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you on as we celebrate our veterans during this Veterans Day season and provide them with information they may not even know about. I mean, we think about when veterans get out of the service, they're a lot of the times maybe relying mostly on the VA, but right here close to home in Oakland County, we have a lot of services that can help them in their day-to-day life from right inside their community. What are some of the highlights of those services provided by Oakland County?
Yeah, well, Oakland County Veteran Services, we have two offices. We have one in Pontiac and one in Troy. And our role is to connect veterans and their dependents to the benefits that they're entitled to. There's some benefits from the VA. There's also some county-specific benefits. So we will go through and interview a veteran and determine what benefits they may be eligible for, and then assist them in applying for those benefits, and then do all the follow-up necessary to make sure that they get what they're entitled to. We have accredited representatives who are accredited by the VA that can file claims and do all the follow-up necessary on those.
And people may not understand that these services are variable from veteran to veteran, from age group to age group, but a lot of them still kind of do persist throughout a veteran's life, from when they return home to when they live out the rest of their lives as a civilian here in Oakland County. So what are some of those key services that kind of span the generations that really do provide a huge help for our local veteran population?
Yeah, there's service-connected disability compensation if somebody was injured or had an illness in service and has a medical issue as a result, a service disability that can be service-connected and can entitle them to monthly compensation from the VA. Also, VA medical care is available if an individual veteran qualifies for that. It provides a full range of service, full-service medical care at the VA medical centers in Detroit and Ann Arbor, and there's also an outpatient clinic in Pontiac.
And among many of these services, one that's kind of popped up recently are free rides, free transportation that's being arranged for veterans. That was something that was kind of a pilot program in the past 6 months to a year, and now has been extended even further. How big of a help has that been to our local veterans as they go about Oakland County to the many different places of hanging out, business, and of course all those necessary appointments?
Yeah, that's been well received by veterans in our community. We were able to get that through a grant from the state of Michigan, the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. And we partnered with SMART and local service providers like WODA, NODA, OPC, People's Express. And we're able to provide free transportation for veterans to anywhere within Oakland County. And it's point-to-point transportation, so they pick them up from their point of origin, get them to the point of their destination, then they pick them up from the destination and get them back to their point of origin. So it can be used for medical appointments, to go to the grocery store, to go to the local senior center, to be able to go out to a gym, really for any purpose. It's a great service, and it's been really well received. We know that some of our, over half of our veterans in Oakland County are over age 65, and sometimes transportation can be a challenge. So this program breaks down any transportation barriers, and it also allows them to get into our office, obviously, if they want to talk to us about any of their benefits that they may be entitled to.
And that brings up ease of access, because we know in many communities, veterans do, as I mentioned earlier on, really rely on the VA when they get back from their service, and even over the decades following their service as they hopefully live long and vibrant lives. But these programs are much closer to home. They have a certain ease of access in Oakland County. So for those that maybe have veterans in their lives that could use some of these services to help ease their day-to-day needs, how easy is it for them to get access to the free transportation and these other programs?
Yeah, the best thing is really to contact one of our offices. Our Pontiac office is 248-858-0785. Our Troy office is 248-655-1250. Or they can go to our website, which is www.oakgov.com/veterans. And they can get the information there. They can set up an appointment to come into our office. And as I indicated, if they don't have transportation, they can use our transportation program to come in and see us.
Garth Wooten is with us, the Division Manager of Veterans Services at Oakland County, as we recognize Veterans Day and want to help provide those necessary services to those who have provided arguably the most necessary service of all to our country and provided us with the freedoms we have each and every day here in Greater West Bloomfield and beyond in Oakland County, and we're talking about that today on The Splash Live. Garth, as we are exploring these services and the variety that they come with and the various ways that they help out our veterans, just how critical is it to our local population of veterans here in Oakland County in maintaining their quality of life? What are the results like from having these programs available and having our local veterans tap into those?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there are monetary benefits that can assist them and enable them to live a more comfortable lifestyle. The medical benefits are obviously essential to them being able to maintain their health, and get the treatment that they deserve. There's also some emergency financial assistance programs if they do find that they're low on food, or need some assistance with the utility or something like that. We also do the resource fairs. We're going to start those back up hopefully in January. We're waiting to get our final grant from the state of Michigan. And then once we do those, we distribute Meyer vouchers, and we give out fresh food boxes. We have all kinds of resources at those resource fairs. We have the VA, we have the state of Michigan. There are a lot of opportunities to connecting with those other resources. In fact, we had one in West Bloomfield there last year.
And Garth, if veterans maybe are struggling to get some of these services, or they're struggling even in spite of some of these services, what are some additional interventions that maybe Oakland County Veteran Services can help them provide or get them connected to in our community to help bridge some of those gaps that are needed to be bridged in their lives?
Yeah, I mean, we always work with local providers and cities, villages, and townships throughout Oakland County to make sure, again, that veterans are aware of what we offer, and we try to make it as simple as the process as simple as possible, so that people don't feel that they're working with a bureaucracy, or that they're, getting a bunch of red tape, or running into difficulties. We try to cut through all those issues and make sure that we act as a veterans advocate to get them, again, what they're entitled to receive from the VA.
Garth, before we let you go, what's your lasting message to veterans as they get recognized for their service today on Veterans Day, hopefully for many days beyond that and all throughout the year, not just on this holiday, but also as they continue to move forward in their lives and understand that they have these resources available to them in our communities?
Yeah, and obviously today is a big day. It's every veteran should be proud of their service, and hopefully they get out to one of the ceremonies throughout the county. There's 60 some cities, villages, and townships, and I think just about every one of them has a ceremony today. There's also up at Great Lakes National Cemetery, there's a really big ceremony out there, which is in Holly, located in Oakland County. So, those opportunities, take the opportunities to talk to people about your service. If they thank you for your service, talk to them about what you did in the military, and kind of share that information so they have a better understanding of what we did and the sacrifices that were made. And as far as, veterans are very proud, but sometimes everybody needs help. And it's not a handout, it's a hand up sometimes that we need. So don't be afraid to ask for help. And whether it's because you're struggling mentally, or whether you're struggling financially, make sure that you reach out, because there are people like Oakland County Veteran Services and a lot of other services that are here to try and help.
More information on those resources, as well as ways you can get in contact with Oakland County Veteran Services, can be found on oakgov.com/veterans, or you can also follow them on Facebook at oakgov.vs. Garth, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. oakgov.com/veterans for more information. And again, we want to thank all of our veterans across Greater West Bloomfield, Oakland County, Michigan, and around the United States today for their service to our country and preserving our freedoms. We thank you so much for your service. We'll take a break here on the Splash Live. On the other side, we'll transition from celebrating our veterans to recognizing the dedicated gameplay of our football team all throughout the season. Not ending the way that they wanted it to, but still a lot to reflect on and be proud of for the West Bloomfield Lakers as they concluded their 2024 season on Friday at Catholic Central. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Bringing you stories and memories from Orchard Lake. Civic Center TV. Television that's close to home. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft, thanking you for tuning in as you do each and every day, and always encouraging you to stay up to date with us on CivicCenterTV.com, on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, as well as on YouTube, Instagram, and X at Civic Center TV. Of course, we have been the home for West Bloomfield Laker football coverage all throughout the season, bringing you almost all of their games on either TV or radio, including their, unfortunately, season finale on Friday night as they took on Novi Detroit Catholic Central, the number 2 team in the state in Division I for the district championship, ultimately falling to the Shamrocks 14-41, ending their season with a 5-6 record, but plenty to be proud of looking back on those 11 games and the careers of many of these seniors who will be moving on to play football at the next level or who had concluded their football career on Friday. Joining us for more insight on Friday's game, as well as the season at large, is the head coach of the West Bloomfield Lakers varsity football team, Zach Hilbers. Coach, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good morning.
Glad to have you on with us. Wish you were under some happier circumstances after last week's game. But we talked about it going into Friday night as we talked about the matchup on This Week in Laker Football last week early on. Catholic Central is a really tough team, especially in their physicality. And it seemed like from the jump, they really had come out with quite the punch against the Lakers. How did that factor into them getting out to such a quick lead going up 14-0?
Yeah, they're a really good team. Really good, strong senior class, big, strong kids that have kind of been playing for a few years, probably like really gearing up toward this season. You got to tip their hat to them and give them credit. They did get off to a really good start. We thought we kind of leveled it a little bit, got a turnover, got a touchdown, and we're kind of in the game right after that. But they're just so good about, if you make mistakes in any facet of the game, taking advantage of it. And when it was 14-7, we kind of, had a couple mistakes that really let a game that we were in kind of spiral. And, they took control of it from that point forward.
Nonetheless, the Lakers still fighting on in that game. It kept it a 14-0 game for a little while. Early on in the second quarter, you were able to get into the end zone, make it a little bit more of an even game, and keep it there for a while as you were approaching halftime. Speak to the fight that your team had despite going up against that early adversity against a team that had done that to many of their other opponents, including Livonia Stevenson last week, and not had any chance of a comeback for those teams that faced them.
Well, when you get in the playoffs, it's like your seniors never wanted to be their last game, and they kind of did a real good job of digging their heels in and knowing we're not going to go down without a good fight. So give them credit to that. They went out, fighting to every last snap, giving all they could. And then, that did get us back in the game. And I think we did have chances in the first half there to make it a real close game at halftime. But like I said, we made a couple mistakes, and that's on us because they took advantage of them and kind of built that 21-point halftime lead.
And as the game progresses on, the lead becomes a lot more lopsided in favor of Catholic Central. You're not able to get back on the board until pretty late in that game, ultimately scoring those final 7 points to lead it to where it ended up being 14-41. But how did you keep your team in that? And how did the younger guys in particular keep the rest of the team in there, those seniors to those younger players, to be able to keep them playing a full 48 minutes, even despite the circumstances not looking so favorable as the game progressed?
Well, it's kind of our message the entire playoff run. Every year, is that we're doing this all for the seniors. Yeah, we're going to need everybody to contribute. We need everybody on the same page, giving their best. But, they're the ones that have the most at stake because, things don't go their way. Their career here is over. So that's kind of always been our focus. And our younger guys did a great job of really owning that. And, that they have a lot of respect for the senior class. And, just wanted to give them everything they had.
And those seniors had an excellent season across the board, too. You think about some of them, in particular, Bo Jackson, who just came in. His first season at West Bloomfield, he had 15 touchdowns. That ties him with Tristan Jackson amongst some of the best careers in West Bloomfield football history in terms of quarterback scoring touchdowns. Now, talk about his impact this season with a younger roster, even a guy like Jamal Shakespeare coming up, who got a lot of varsity snaps too, learning how to lead an offense and keep a team progressing forward as the season moved on.
Yeah, he did a great job. Bo did. It's difficult to come in for a year and kind of get coached a different way, learn a new system, learn a different way to do things. And he kind of took it all head on, was really, really effective and a good player. Probably later 2/3 of the year, really felt more comfortable, and I think it showed in his play. But he was a great kid all along, just a tremendous teammate. It was a great job when we would, mix up our quarterbacks and play Jamal or Josh Tate or anybody else there, and he was always supportive and doing everything good for the team and helping the individuals out that were really, taking his snaps away. And sometimes, so really just a model teammate, and it really, I guess, it shows his work ethic, and it kind of paid off for him. He had a great year.
And other guys like Cameron Flowers, who had a kind of a slower start statistically to the year, but really finished off the season well, was an impact player in that Catholic Central game. And Elijah Durham, who once again had just an excellent season, putting up over 900 yards receiving in the air. And between that and his junior season, ended up finishing his career with the most receiving yards for a career in West Bloomfield football history, surpassing Trey Mosley. Talk about their impact as guys that are for sure going to be playing at the next level on Saturdays, and with a young roster coming up that, especially in the receiving core and on the defensive side, is going to have some big shoes to fill next year.
Yeah, definitely some big shoes to fill. Those guys played a lot of varsity football. You're right, Elijah's our career leader now in receiving yards, but I'm pretty sure he also in touchdowns as well. He passed Trey Mosley and Samaj in that. So obviously a really good career. You don't get those numbers without that. Feel for him a little bit. He didn't have his best game. He made some good plays, but Cameron, on the other hand, had one of his better games in his last game. So I'm really happy for him. He was, like you had mentioned, he was kind of dinged up earlier this year and little nagging injuries, played through everything like you would want a senior to do. But, it affected him a little bit. So to see him get healthier and put up a game like that was good. You want them to have their best game in their last game. So at least he was able to do that for us. And you're right, they're both going to have really good careers on Saturdays, and we just got to, find them the best home we possibly can.
And so now as we look forward, despite a lot of seniors soon to be graduating and moving on from West Bloomfield High School, won't obviously be back next season, but a lot of your younger players, especially those juniors, are going to be in some critical roles, and they've got now a couple of years of varsity experience under their belt, or they got this past year of varsity experience under their belt. I know you have your first team meetings usually on the Monday after these football games, but what sort of leadership jump are you already maybe seeing or hearing from some of those younger players getting motivated for 2025?
Yeah, they usually do a pretty good job of getting excited pretty quickly before, the shock of the season even ends. But yeah, some of the 26 class already wants to be with me this week. Start, looking forward to next year. What can we do the same? What do we got to do better? And just try to set our goals right now because we want to have a better season, better outcomes than we had. And you know what? Our seniors have been great so far too. Like Elijah told me, Elijah Durham that you had mentioned, he told me after the game, he's just working with every young receiver we have until he leaves here to show him, the craft and how to be a effective receiver within our offense, and just kind of like the little nuances of the game and things like that come with experience, because we do think we have some really talented kids that'll have to learn the ropes. And but on the other hand, we had a lot of juniors this year that were maybe entered this season with not the most experience, and now they have a ton. So there's definitely some bright things to look forward to in the future.
There's always that big jump between one season to the next, especially when you have that kind of experience under your belt. So it'll be very interesting to see the progress that those upperclassmen make as they head into their senior year and take on bigger roles. Coach Zach Hilbers, the head coach of the West Bloomfield High School varsity football team, as they concluded their season Friday in a district championship loss to Novi Detroit Catholic Central. As you reflect on these 11 games this season, what do you think is the ultimate story of your team in 2024, and what defined this particular class of Laker football players?
But we definitely had a lot of ups and downs, which I guess is partially on us because we weren't consistent in some of our games. But life's like that in a lot of ways. It's not always going to be smooth sailing. It's not always going to be easy. And most times you learn the most through your mistakes, through your failures. So if we are better players and better people and more well-rounded and ready for the world life because of those adversities, despite not getting the results we wanted, there's a lot of benefits in that as well. So you have to really think of it that way, because we did a lot of things well. And, I told the guys after last season when we were play away from the state championship game, it's just so hard to get back to that point. Your focus is like, all right, we just need to make one more play this year. But just to even get back to that opportunity is so difficult. I think Dan Campbell mentioned that to the Lions after the loss to San Francisco last year in the NFC Championship game. It's hard to even get back here. You see, they're having a really good year, so hopefully, they're back in that same situation. But it's just so hard to get back. So if nothing else, it should hopefully teach them to focus and really work towards every goal you have with the most effort you can possibly give.
These players take a lot of lessons from each other all throughout the season, and even after those seniors graduate and move on to play at the collegiate level, and for many Lakers at the collegiate level, soon to be at the pros as well. Coach Hilbers, thank you so much for your time today, and as always, from all throughout the season.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you as well. West Bloomfield Laker football concluding their season in a 14-41 loss in the district championship game in Division I against Novi Detroit Catholic Central. Those Shamrocks move on now to the regional, where they will take on a familiar foe from West Bloomfield and Belleville on Friday night. Congratulations to them, and congratulations to the Lakers team as well. Hard-fought season, a lot of ups and downs, as Coach Hilbers had said, but those guys kept motivated every single week. They didn't get down on themselves. Their body language never changed. Whenever I would talk to them in the hallways or on This Week in Laker Football or before or after these ball games, including on Friday night, they had the same confidence. They had the same joy in playing with those other 10 players on the field with them at any given time every single week. And so if you want to go back down memory lane through the journey of the 2024 West Bloomfield Lakers varsity football team, go ahead and join us on our website on civiccentertv.com/Lakersports with links to our coverage, as well as where you can see and where you can listen back to Friday night's game as the Lakers concluded their 2024 regular season and postseason campaign with the varsity football squad. Close to home, some basketball stars also making some big news recently. Summer and India Davis, arguably the two greatest girls basketball players in the history of West Bloomfield Lakers sports, now are playing in the SEC in the NCAA's Division I women's basketball program. They are at the University of Georgia, where they are already making a massive impact on the Bulldogs basketball team. Off to a strong start at Georgia, making highlights. Summer Davis already off to doing what she does best, draining threes. We have some clips we can play for you there, Calvin, if you can put those up. We'll go through it. Here, the first play is Summer Davis doing what she does best, going into the corner, calling for the basketball, picking it up, and launching a triple straight into the net for her first three-pointer as Georgia took on Furman earlier on this season. The next game over, a few games later, India Davis pulls down a board, dishes it out to a teammate, goes back into the corner, and she fires one of her own into the basket against NC Central. Already as freshmen on these teams, on Georgia, both Summer and India Davis making a big impact, or hopefully they're going to have a stellar career in the SEC, as they both did at West Bloomfield as multi-time state champions, including last season, and both having achieved Gatorade Player of the Year in back-to-back seasons. It was a Davis twin from West Bloomfield picking up those honors. Congratulations to them as they're off to an incredible start at the University of Georgia. Close to home, some changes at one of our favorite local parks. Drake Sports Park has been undergoing a revamped playground over the past several weeks, and now it is officially open. And already families are heading out to Drake Sports Park and enjoying this new amenity. Our reporter Jake Schaff has more.
Fun and excitement is exactly where it's at right here at Drake Sports Park as their brand new play structure officially opened up for the public. With countless new amenities and several opportunities for family fun, it's no wonder to see this place become such a popular spot just within the last few weeks.
This fall, we replaced the playground at Drake Sports Park. It was 25 years of age. It was time for a replacement. We did about 6 months of thinking and designing, planning to build a new playground. It has a lot of new cool features. Our first climbing tower, rope climbing tower, if you will, that we have in the park system. Our 5 swing bay swing set with 10 swings. A couple of cool things there is we did some face-to-face swings this time that we've never done in the parks, that the little one can sit on one side and mom or dad or grandma and grandpa can sit on the other. So there's like 6 different styles of swings in that swing bay. New stuff is coming out each day with playgrounds, and we incorporated as much as we could in this one.
What's been the response from some of the community members you've spoken to about the new playground?
Very good, very good. They, while we were wrapping up the last week, with final small little details, installing benches and seating and stuff like that, everybody was walking by and stopping. Hey, when can we play? When can we play? We opened up last Friday, I believe it was, and Saturday morning, all last weekend. It was, thank God for this Indian summer, and we've had a lot of people over there playing for the last week.
So what is it like enjoying this brand new play structure with Drake Sports Park?
We love it. It's fun, exciting, new, especially the swings. Those are really cool how they have the double swings. The kids love it because they love swinging with each other, and it's just so nice. It's got a little bit something for everybody, every age. I think it'll bring a lot to the community, and not even just West Bloomfield. We live in Farmington Hills and we love coming here. So I think it'll bring families together. It's nice to, personally, I will tell my mother-in-law, hey, meet us at the park. She lives right down the street. So it's a nice gathering place. It's nice to...
Are you going to be incorporating elements of this playground to maybe some of the other playgrounds in the future?
Yeah, for sure. We have a capital 12-year capital program that we do in the parks that we update every year, and we're going to be redoing some more playgrounds in the future, and we will definitely be coming with the latest and greatest, and maybe even some natural, native built, native meaning out of some logs and stuff from the trees and things like that. So some nature inspired playgrounds. So yeah, we're always looking to up our game every time we do one.
It's wonderful to see the people of West Bloomfield Parks continuing to do their part in making these parks even better for the community. And from checking out all the smiling faces around here, that's enough confirmation to know it's a job well done. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Hey, you did something right when you, on day one, in the first couple of days, have a packed house over at your new playground. So congratulations to the team at West Bloomfield Parks for completing that successful project. And hey, congratulations to the community, too. A great new place to go out and gather with the kids and have some fun on the weekends and after those school days, burn some energy and have a lot of new amenities for them to explore with their play here in Greater West Bloomfield. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, new amenities not just at West Bloomfield Parks, but also coming to your local library. Stay with us, live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen.
Hi, I'm Chris Fry, Park Superintendent, West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations, Civic Center TV, on 1 million views on YouTube. Thank you for all you do in the community, and thank you for having me on The Splash throughout the season to talk about activities out in the parks. Chris Fry, proud to be 1 in a million.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
Bringing you stories and memories from Kego Harbor. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft, thanking you for tuning in. And if you're just tuning in, you can always catch our full shows on demand on civiccentertv.com and join us for the latest segments and updates and more original programming across social media. Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, as well as on YouTube, Instagram, and X at Civic Center TV. Some big news recently in our community. What represents roughly half of the revenue at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library is their millage, which levies taxes from homeowners like you here in Greater West Bloomfield in order to support their programs and their two branches, both the main and West Acres branch in West Bloomfield Township. So recently, as they're looking forward to some projects and improvements in the future, they put it out for vote to the public to repeal and replace their current millage set to expire in 2026 and put a new one in place to continue to fund all the great things that happen at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. The good news is, though, that initiative passed with flying colors. Here to tell us more about what this means for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library is their director, Kathy Russ. Kathy, thank you for being with us.
Oh, you're welcome, Tyler. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you on, and congratulations on this big accomplishment for the library. This is something I know was a really critical issue for you, getting out the information about this in the past months. For those that maybe aren't familiar with what this millage will do for the library, what will this funding ultimately go for in terms of improving services, operations, and the needs of both of your branches?
Sure. So this millage represented about 46% of our overall funding. So almost half of our funding comes from this source. So we really appreciate the community approving it and helping us to keep library services going for the next 10 years. And not just going, but going in a manner in which I think the public has come to expect excellent services, excellent programs, excellent facilities. And we want to make sure that tradition continues, but we also want to do some upgrades. We have some capital projects that we need to take care of over the next 10 years because our buildings are getting older. And we want to add some more programs and more services and more, certainly ebooks to the collection and other materials as well.
That millage will be accounted for beginning in 2024 and continuing all the way through 2033 after this passage in the most recent election. An estimated $3.3 million will be collected in the first year with the millage being levied now across the community. And that's a lot of money that goes towards some really critical projects. And Kathy, we've seen a lot of improvements being made recently at the main library branch, some critical repairs over the past several months. How will those continue into the coming years? What are you sort of looking at as things that can continue to be improved at the main branch, but also over at the West Acres branch?
So I'm actually in a study room talking to you today instead of my office because they're working on the main library's roof and they're actually working right outside my office. So a lot of banging and clanging, and I didn't want to interfere with the interview. So But yes, so that's going on right now. But as you mentioned, we do need to look at the West Acres roof. Both of our buildings, the main branch and the West Acres branch, will be 25 years old next year. And, just like a home or any other building, it needs to be maintained. So over the next 10 years, which is the duration of this term for the millage, we need to replace the West Acres roof. We need to replace some HVAC over at West Acres, also some components still here at Maine. At some point in the next 10 years, we're going to need to replace windows. We've been improving our technology infrastructure for the last 4 years, but we want to continue making improvements to that and make sure that we're, really tight with security as far as that goes. So those are the building improvements that we want to make. And with the passage of this millage, it will allow us to, I think, firm up that capital improvements plan and determine kind of a timeline when we can do what. And it's just wonderful to know that we have the funds will be available to do what we need to do to keep these buildings safe and secure.
Kathy Russ is the director of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, joins us today on the Splash Live after the passage of their library millage of repeal and replace proposal on the 2024 ballot. More information on the library and all of its services and events coming up on WBLIB.org, or follow them on Facebook at West Bloom LIB. And Kathy, this all comes at a really interesting time because on this ballot, it's your repeal and replace for a new millage for the library. Resounding support that's going to be helping the library with capital improvements for years to come. In August, it was very similar for West Bloomfield Parks, right next door to you. They're going to be making massive improvements at the Recreation Activity Center. How do both of these coinciding ultimately lead to a really bright future at the Town Hall complex?
Well, I can tell you, we have a great partnership with the Parks Department, and I was delighted for them when their bond passed. And then now with the passage of our millage, one of the things that Kelly Heyer, the executive director of Parks, and I have talked about is creating an outdoor programming space between our two buildings and having something there, that the community can come to and take in programs or classes or, do something. There's no plans, there's no drawings, there's nothing. It's just something that we've talked about. But I think with the passage of their bond and the passage of the library millage, we can look into that more deeply and try to do something to make that happen. Talk to the community, see what they would be interested in, and then work on that. So I think that would be an improvement for the Civic Center campus. Certainly, it would give the public another place to gather, and in a setting. I think we would make it very nice because it would be outdoors. Probably have shelter of some kind, but things, especially since the pandemic, people seem to like outdoor spaces and want to gather in them. So another meeting space in the community potentially. So I think that'd be really cool, really fun to work on. And I think just overall on the Civic Center campus, Steve Kaplan, Debbie Binder, Terry Weingarten all were reelected. And I think it just shows that the community supports the quality of life and supports its the administration and the entities that keep the township such a great place to live. And to work in a community like that does that supports that is very gratifying. It's really wonderful. So I think with the passage of the Parks Bond and the passage of the library millage and then the election of the township folks, I think it just is a bright future for the township and demonstrates that the community supports all of our endeavors.
Your leadership, your staff going to be ultimately implementing a lot of these capital improvements and these changes at the main library and the West Acres branch for years to come. A lot of that's also going to be coming from the directive of your leadership, some new leadership coming in and some returning leadership on the library board. All 6 of its members also elected last night with a new member joining in Jennifer Taylor Boykins. How does that collaboration work between you and the library board to ultimately take this investment from the community and turn it into something that's going to ultimately go back to the community and provide them with something great for years to come?
That's a great question. And I think of it as a circle because the library board, their 3 main responsibilities are to hire the director, which they have done with me, and I hope that they won't be doing that again anytime soon. And then the second responsibility is policy, to set policy. And then the third main responsibility is the financial oversight and make sure that, everything's running the way that it's supposed to be running in terms of the finances. So that's a really critical piece. We have a really wonderful treasurer, Rhonda Barnes-Orr, who was reelected. She has a financial background. Several people on our board have finance backgrounds. So they're, I think, well-positioned and savvy in terms of what to look for, and they ask really great questions. So, but back to the circle, so it starts with the board, and then I'm the director, so I report to the board, and I do my very best to keep them apprised of everything that's going on, and, there are some things that they have to approve. Then I take that to the staff, and then we do it. But then there are a lot of times that things come from the staff to me that I take to the board, or me down to the staff, get their buy-in, and then go to the board. So it's just kind of a big circle. And then, of course, you have to factor the community into that, because what we primarily do, we have great ideas. I think staff has great ideas on their own. But a lot of what we do is in response to or anticipating the needs of the community. And so, so when you bring in the communities, you've got the community, the staff, library administration, and then the board. I think we all work together really well. I think we have great communication. I think that there's a lot of mutual understanding of what everybody's role is, and that's really, I think, so important and appreciated by me, because the board understands what it is there to do. And it just, knock on wood, it all seems to be working.
Yeah, collaboration plays a really critical role in all of our tentpole services across the Greater West Bloomfield area. Such great appreciation for the library, not only in West Bloomfield, but in the Tri-Cities as well, that also are able to tap into those services all throughout the year at both of those branches. Kathy Russ with us, the director of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Any final thoughts as this millage repeal and replace has been approved by the public, and you look forward to some of these big improvements coming to our two library branches?
Yeah, I thank you for the opportunity to talk about that. So I guess two things. The first thing is I want to really thank the community for their support. It is very gratifying, and we do appreciate it. We do not take it for granted. It's an ask, especially when it's an increase on the table. So we will do everything we can to just continue that tradition of excellence, but keep listening to the community and responding to the community needs. But I really want to say thank you to the community. It's really, really fantastic to see such great support. The second thing that I want to let everybody know is, because, I've heard already this morning, so what are you going to do? The first thing that we want to do is place the order for those Holtz pickup lockers, 24/7 Holtz pickup lockers. So if you're working the late shift at Civic Center Television and you don't get out till after the library closes, but there's a material that you really want, we can put it in a locker for you, and you can pick it up at 10:30 at night, or 2 in the morning, or 6 in the morning. We want to get that going, because that was a extremely highly requested service back even from 2022. And so we want to move on that. And then, like I said, kind of firm up that capital plan and start ordering ebooks, because that's another thing that people really want. So kind of hit the low-hanging fruit, make the plans for the next 10 years, and then just get going.
You can follow along with the entire process on wblib.org on the web, and also on social media on Facebook at West Bloom LIB. That's their same handle over on Instagram as well. Kathy, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks a lot, Tyler. I hope you have a good day.
You as well, Kathy Russ, the director of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Big congratulations to their entire team, not just Director Russ, but all the other employees down the line who have been going to different events throughout the community for outreach about the millage. And of course, now as they put that to action, already some improvements being made at the main library with their roof, and soon more improvements to be made to that building, to the West Acres branch, and all these great programs that they've been innovating on over the past several years, which is part of the reason why they recently were awarded the State Librarian's Citation of Excellence for the second time in library history. Congratulations to all of them. Hey, as you're going throughout the community this week, and as we go through the holidays, you got family coming in, you're taking them out and about around town. Why not make yourself a little money in the process by joining in on a special sweepstakes from Oakland County? They're once again bringing back their Local Gems sweepstakes now through November 30th. You can enter with a chance to win cash cash prizes by simply visiting local businesses, snapping selfies, and uploading them to Oakland County's website at oakgov.com/shopsmall. Each visit counts as an entry, so you're not limited to one. If you visit one business one day and another the next day, and you support these businesses, you take a selfie, you upload it, you can win a $1,000 prize for first place, $500 for second, and $250 is the third place prize. It's supported through Oakland County with partnerships with Genesis Credit Union to strengthen our community by keeping dollars circulating locally through Greater West Bloomfield and around Oakland County. For more information and details and entry requirements, visit oakgov.com/shopsmall. And of course, most importantly, visit our small businesses here in West Bloomfield, Keagle Harbor, Orchard Lake Village, and Sylvan Lake. That's all of our time for today's edition of the Splash Live. As always, you can keep up to date with us on CivicCenterTV.com, on social media, Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, and YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at Civic Center TV. For our entire crew, Calvin Brown and Jake Schaff, I'm Tyler Kieft. Thanks for tuning in to the Splash Live.